The following is a production of Frankie Freitas and the Internet Museum of Holography.
What the heck was that? I think we just had an alien visitor right here in the studio. Hello, this is Frankie Freitas, and welcome to another week of HoloTalk. Debbie Lee just walked into the studio. We've got questions this week, we have emails, and we have a few surprises coming up, so let's get this week's show on the road. Hello and welcome to another week of HoloTalk for the week of November 30th. Deb, how are you this week?
I'm good, Frank. A little full, but good.
You had a good Thanksgiving?
It was great. How was yours?
It was wonderful. It was a wonderful Thanksgiving, but there's still too much turkey left over, and I don't know how much longer I can take turkey sandwiches, turkey this, turkey that.
Another week or so, right?
Another week. I don't know if I'm going to last that long. In any case, I want to thank everyone who filled out the form before you come onto the HoloTalk real audio program. And basically what it was, we wanted to get an idea of what modem speed you're connecting at, what real audio version you're using. And we also asked the question whether you would enjoy watching HoloTalk instead of just listening. What do you think the viewers said?
I think they probably... The viewers?
The listeners. I'm giving it away.
The viewers said they'd rather watch us.
They'd rather watch us. 7 out of 10 listeners said that they'd like to watch HoloTalk. So we're going to see what we can do and find out if we can add some video to the presentation as well. Maybe some of the guests that are coming on may be able to ship us a VHS video that we can show presentation of their work and the things that the companies are doing. And I think people would find that interesting. Also, I've hired a statistical analysis company to find out who our listeners are. And the results are in from last week. Of course, the United States is the number one listener, but could you guess what the second country is?
Canada.
Canada. Close. Canada is third. The second country is Germany.
Wow.
Germany is the second country listening to us. Let's go down the list and see who our listeners are. You're all in a global community here for sure. We've got the U.S., we have Germany. After Germany is USA Educational. Then we have Canada, Australia, the Netherlands, Italy, Estonia, United Kingdom, Croatia, Sweden, Israel, Brazil, Indonesia, Russian Federation, Malaysia, France, USA Government. Ooh, USA Government. Japan, Greece, Austria, United Arab Emirates. Is that pronounced right? Emirates? I think so. Portugal, South Korea, Norway, Finland, Hungary, Spain, Switzerland, Mexico, Belgium, South Africa, New Zealand, Singapore, Poland, India, Oman, O-M-A-N. I've heard of that country, but I think I'm pronouncing it right.
I've never heard of it. I can't help, sorry.
After Oman is USA Military, so I guess there's some people from the military base that listen as well. Czech Republic, Lithuania, China, Argentina, Qatar, Q-A-T-A-R, Luxembourg, Jordan, Hong Kong, Bahrain, B-A-H-R-A-I-N, Namibia, Taiwan, and unresolved hosts. I thought Hong Kong and Taiwan would be up there higher than
Yeah, I would think so too.
But that's our listening audience. Now we have no idea who logs on and who doesn't log on. We just know where you're from. And I don't know if you can hear it or not, but we have a uninvited guest that we've been having trouble with on our television sets and all the audio equipment here in the studio. We're picking up someone's telephone conversation, and we cannot get rid of it. This woman just had her dog spayed, and she's getting another puppy because they're buying a new home and they're going to have more room.
Maybe they won't come through our television and everything else.
If they move.
If they move to the new home.
Buy that new home.
Unless the new home's closer.
Unless the new home's
then
closer.
Then it'll be louder.
Okay. I don't know if this is being picked up by the recording. I have it in my headphones. Browsers. I have some information on browsers. Netscape browser is used by 77.4% of the people who are listening to the show, and Microsoft Internet Explorer is being used by 20.5%. Following that is America Online, Teleport Pro, Hot Java, iWeng, I-W-E-N-G, which is the first I've ever heard of that browser. That may be something that's used in libraries or something. I don't know. It may be a text browser. Prodigy, Spry Mosaic, and iBrowse. iBrowse is a funny name. It's a cool name. Yeah. iBrowse. Get it? iBrowse? Like eyebrows?
Good play with words.
Good play with words. So that's what our audience is right now. And it's very valuable information. It's nice to see that this is going out to so many different places around the world. I just want to remind you that you can send your laser and holography questions into us two ways. Number one is through the phone. We have a toll-free number. This call does not cost you anything. It does not show up on your bill. You can call in 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and leave your question. And that number is 1-800-458-3525. And just follow the instructions on the machine and leave your message. We'd love to have your voice on the air. Or you can send an email to holotalk@holoworld.com, and we will read your question on the air. We do not use any names or locations where you're from on the air. If you have a pencil and paper ready, last week I wanted to give a rundown on our guests, but it only went to February, so this week I have the entire list up until July, and I'd like to read that list to you. November 23rd, our guest was Paul Graham, and the reason why I'm mentioning that again is there's a magazine for fine cuisine, which is called Bon Appetit, and someone showed me the magazine this week, and they said that there was a little story and a write-up in there about the holographic lollipops.
How about that?
How about that? You heard it here first, though, folks, at HoloTalk. You heard it here first. December 7th, Wang Chun, whose nickname, he goes by Hunter as far as the emails that we send back and forth, and he's from a holography development company in China, and he's going to give us an update on the advancement of holography in China. And there's one thing that's very interesting about this interview.
What's that?
Hunter is learning to speak English just for this interview.
Well, I'm impressed.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, that really is something.
Close to 2 weeks ago, I sent him the list of questions, and he's being tutored in English so he can answer the questions on the show for all our listeners.
Wow, that's really something.
That's something. So we're going to be welcoming Hunter next week, December 7th, on HoloTalk. Let's go down the list. December 21st, Derek Gallen from the Royal Holographic Gallery in Canada. January 4th, Alex Schmetz from 3 Deep Company. January 18th, Dr. Stephen Benton from the Media Lab at MIT. February 1st, Brian Monahan from Pennsylvania Pulp and Paper. February 15th, Jimmy Wolford has a company that does security holograms in Panama. March 1st, Alan Rohde from Ross Books. March 15th is an anonymous guest. He's going by John Doe, and he's one of the top collectors of holograms in the United States, and he's going to fill us in on how you can get started collecting holograms yourself. March 29th, Dr. Jiang from Lake Forest College, more affectionately known to everyone in holography as TJ. He's going to be here with us March 29th. April 12th, Steve Province from Blue Ridge Holographics. April 26th, L. Micard Roberts from Laser FX International. May 10th, Dr. John Perry with Holographics North. May 24th, Jason Sapon from Holographic Studios in New York City. June 7th, Peter Shire from AD2000 Company. And June 21st, Stephen J. Quest from Quest Lasers. So that's our rundown. And we invite you to join us for all these guests. It's going to be very interesting shows. Let's move on now. We have a few telephone calls that we got this week, and we want to get to a couple questions that we didn't cover last week. A few news items and a few new products. And let's go to our first telephone question.
Hi, I was in a few holography shops over summer vacation, and all they had on the walls were reflection holograms. Could you tell me where I would have to go to see other types of holograms, like white light transmission holograms? And also, how many different types of holograms are there? Why do the shops only show reflection holograms? Thanks.
That's a very good question. Why do we always see reflection holograms in the shops? Basically, the reason why we see so many holograms in the shops that are reflection holograms is that they're very easy to display. You can just put them on the wall, have your light come in at approximately a 45-degree angle, and forget about it. Some of your other holograms, like white light transmission holograms, these holograms have to be out from the wall because the light passes through the hologram to the viewer's eye, which means the light is positioned behind and above the hologram, so they take up a lot more space. As far as where you could go to see other types of holograms, I do not know where you're from, but if you want to send me an email and let me know where you're from, I have a directory here that could point you to a few shops, and there's also museums in the directory. The shops are probably going to have just reflection holograms in them, but if you find one of the museums, you'll be able to see some of the other holograms, like the white light transmission holograms. There are a lot of different types of holograms. You have laser transmission holograms. You have white light transmission holograms. You have reflection holograms that are single color, reflection holograms that are true color. Reflection holograms that are multiple channel holograms, where as you pass by the hologram, the scene changes. There are also what are known as stereogram and multiplex holograms. They are sort of like film that's on a 180-degree or 360-degree cylinder. The 180-degree holograms actually are attached to the wall, but the 360-degree holograms usually spin so that you just stand there and watch the action going on. They are also white light transmission holograms, but a different form of a white light transmission hologram. I don't think I'm missing any. Of course, you've got the embossed holograms. They're white light transmission holograms also, but they have the silvering material on the back of the hologram, so instead of having to bring the light in from the opposite side of the viewer, they can be treated much like a reflection hologram, where you can put them on the wall and have the light coming from the same side as the viewer. So there are a lot of different holograms that you can enjoy and see, and I'd love to be able to point you in the right direction so that you could go and see those holograms. So send me an email and I'll let you know if there's anything in your area. I have an interesting little tidbit coming up, Deb.
What's that?
I took my little handheld tape recorder and I asked a bunch of school kids, what is a hologram?
What age school kids?
I think they were 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
Okay.
So they weren't small kids.
Okay.
They were probably right in the age where they know what's cool and what's happening.
Right.
You know. I'm going to play that segment for you. What do you think their response is going to be? Do you think a lot of them know what a hologram is, or do you think a lot of them do not know anything about what a hologram is?
Oh, I don't know. That could go either way. I'm going to guess that a lot of them do know.
A lot of them do know? Okay, let's listen to this segment. It's a little redundant because every time I asked a new person, I had to say, what is a hologram? So you'll hear me say, what is a hologram many times over. But let's listen to the segment, and then we'll come back and we'll find out, do these kids know what a hologram is? And what type of job do we have in front of us to educate these kids? Okay, here we go. So tell me, what's a hologram? Tell me, what's a hologram? Do you know what a hologram is?
3D picture?
3D picture, okay. What's a laser?
A beam? I don't know.
What's a laser?
A beam.
A beam. What's a laser?
I don't know.
You don't know. Do you know what a hologram is?
No.
Do you know what a hologram is?
3D picture?
Do you know what a hologram is?
No.
Do you know what a hologram is?
No.
So tell me, what's a hologram?
Something that's like kind of sparkly, and it's like when you put it like sideways, it glows and you can see a picture. And you're recording this, aren't you?
Tell me, what's a hologram?
I don't know.
What's a hologram?
Don't know.
What's a hologram?
I don't know.
What's a hologram?
Is this like a disc?
What's a hologram?
I don't know.
What's a hologram?
A hole in a gram.
What's a hologram?
PC.
What's a hologram?
Something that, like, on a sticker, when you hold it different ways, the colors change.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Hi. What's a hologram? Do you know what a hologram is?
No.
Do you know what a hologram is?
Yeah, a hologram is like a like an illusion made by computers.
What's a hologram?
I have no idea.
What's a hologram?
It's like an illusion. Like, it's not real.
What's a hologram?
I don't know.
Okay. So tell me, sir, what's a hologram?
I have no clue.
What's a hologram?
I don't know.
What's a hologram?
It's not a real image, so I have no idea. It's an image that you, well, it's like, yeah.
Could you tell me what's a laser? What's a laser?
A concentrated light that's strong.
And what's a hologram?
Slow glow.
There you have it. What do you think?
I'm surprised.
Are you surprised?
Yeah, I am surprised. I really thought that kids that age would be more on top of things than that. But one thing that may be the cause of it, okay, maybe more than what answered really do know, but they're at that age where, like, if you heard the girls giggling, like, they don't want to answer. Like, they may have known, but, like, they were embarrassed maybe to be wrong just in case they didn't really know. So they gave the typical, I don't know. You know, I mean, that's a real strange age that you're dealing with there, you know.
Yeah. But they knew what it was when I was finished with them.
No doubt.
No doubt. Well, there you have it, folks. A random sampling of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders on what is a hologram. And I think we've got quite a bit of a job cut out for us to educate people on what this technology is about. And I'm really surprised. I was really surprised by a lot of the answers. Well, okay. Let's start going to our email questions.
Okay, Frank. First email reads, Hi, I am a senior at the Regional Governor's School for Global Economics and Technology for Southside Virginia, which is an alternative-type high school environment. I have been involved in a 2-year project involving lasers and this year expanding into holography. My group, including myself and 2 fellow classmates, performed our first attempt at making a reflection hologram this past weekend. All attempts were unsuccessful as the developed film was dark and no images were visible. I was wondering, does this indicate a problem in perhaps the exposure time or an error in the developing process?
Okay, the Regional Governor's School for Global Economics and Technology. How did they get that all on the letterhead? Let's see. All attempts were unsuccessful. The developed film was dark and no images were visible. Well, I'd have to know what processing technique you're using. Number one, the only one that I'm familiar with myself for reflection holograms where you still have a dark piece of film when you're finished is when you're developing in a developer like D19, fixing, and then going into mercuric chloride bleach, which is highly toxic. If you're not using the mercuric chloride bleach, and I hope you're not, I'm wondering if you're using a bleach at all. Because usually when you bleach a reflection hologram, that film becomes clear. You can see right through it. Reflection holograms are not that efficient at playing back the light. It's only a very small percentage of the incoming light that's used to recreate the image and sent back to the viewer's eye. So we do need a bleaching step in the processing sequence. So I would say take a look at your papers and find out, are you bleaching that hologram? You need to bleach it. And if you are using the mercuric chloride bleach, I would say let's look toward a different type of processing regimen for you. Get away from that mercuric chloride bleach. It's very highly toxic. I'm going to send you an email. I'm going to include a number of different processing techniques that's safe for a school environment, gives very nice results, and hopefully this will help you out.
I played a game called The Magic of Hologram. I'm hooked. Is it possible to make a hologram like the game has in a home lab? If so, please send info. The holograms looked like the people walked on top of the screen. The screen was flat on the table.
I've seen this game. Were you ever with me when this game was going on?
It.
I believe the game that I was looking at was called Time Journey or something like that, and it's not using holograms at all, although if my memory serves me right, there's something about holography or holograms in the title or something that's on the main construction of the game itself where it says holography or holograms. There's no holograms involved in that at all. And I think there may have been some sort of a patent dispute on that a few years ago where they were supposed to take that off of the game itself. I'm not quite sure. But what that uses is you have your regular CRT screen, like a television screen, which is down inside of that game. That television screen, the light from that actually hits a 45-degree front surface mirror, which takes that light and sends it up to a Fresnel lens. It's a Fresnel lens system which is on top. And Fresnel lens systems focus light. You can use them. A lot of times they're used for burning paper and things like that when you're young and you have a Fresnel lens. But it makes those characters on the television screen appear to be standing on the surface of the game as you're playing it. Now, this is a very nice effect. I was very impressed because there were dinosaurs and there were hunters, and I think the whole point of the game was to go through time, through different historical periods. And it was very impressive to watch these things run around the top of the screen. However, next time you're looking at it, look very closely because those figures are not three-dimensional. The figures themselves, even though they're appearing to stand up on the surface of that glass, are flat. If that were a hologram, they would appear three-dimensional. And this is a problem that we see a lot with people when they see these types of images, is they think that because something's floating in space or that it's not attached to something, that it must be a hologram. And that's not the case at all. There are many different optical techniques that are used to take images and float them in space, but the images are not three-dimensional and they're not holograms. So unless we're talking about a different game, and it's quite possible we are, the game has nothing at all to do with holography. There's no holograms involved. It's a very standard optical process which is allowing those players to stand up and run around on the surface of the screen itself. Let's go to another one of our telephone calls that we had this week.
Hi. I don't know too much about holograms, but my question is it possible to incorporate a holographic clock in the context of a department store, a clock that would actually work and it would be timed accordingly to the real clock? I'm doing a school project for the Fashion Institute of Technology, and we're designing a futuristic Bloomingdale's in California. And this is why I want to know if it's possible to incorporate something like that, and how it would be done, and how much it would cost. I look forward to seeing the answer to this question on your webpage. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, holographic clocks. I know that there was an artist that made a holographic clock. The entire clock itself wasn't a hologram, but if I can remember it correctly, the actual workings of the clock, like the quartz movement, which was on the back, and then that comes through the front where you have your hands, your hour, your minute, and your second, sweep second hands, was drilled through the holographic plate. And the plate itself projected different images out in space as the hands tracked around. Now, I don't know if that's the type of holographic clock you're talking about or whether you're talking about a completely holographic clock where it's moving. I've never seen anything like that before. You left this on the phone. I didn't get a return number with your message, so I don't know how to get back to you on it. Excuse me. But if you're listening to this broadcast, which you say you're going to, although you said you're waiting to see the answer posted on the webpage, we don't post any of the answers. We just do the answers on the show. But if you're listening to the show, and you must have been listening, or you wouldn't have gotten, they could have gotten a telephone number without listening too. Send me another email, and let me send this out to the holographers who may be listening to this show. Would you want to pick up on this job? Someone's looking for a holographic clock for a design that you're doing out for a shop out in California. So send me an email if you know anything about it or you could produce it, and let's see if we can't hook this woman up with someone who could produce that clock for her. Okay? All right.
Okay. Dear Sir, I am now wanting to search some materials about the development of holography over the last 10 years, particularly with respect to the public use, perception, and appreciation. Would you suggest some useful sites for helping my research? Thanks for your attention. Best regards.
Okay, well, there's a number of different ways you can approach this on the Internet. You can go to the search engines and type in whatever topic you're interested in finding about holography, or you can visit the link page that I have at the Webmuseum. It's a fairly comprehensive list of links to laser and holography sites around the world. I'm sure you'll be able to find something that suits what it is that you're looking for from that list. So I could probably send you something, but what I would send would be to go to the link page and get off the link page myself, because I'm not aware of too many other sites that aren't listed on there. We have another email?
We have another email.
Okay.
I am a 16-year-old A-level student at Woodkirk High School, England, and I am studying, amongst others, physics. I have been assigned an essay and presentation recently on the subject of holography to be completed after Christmas. I would be very grateful to you if you could send me some information on this topic.
Okay, well, if you're listening to this, I sent your email, but it bounced back. So there's something wrong in your email address. I tried to find out what it was, but I couldn't come up with anything. So if you're listening, please send me another email and check your return address on the email. There's some character or something in there that doesn't belong there, and it's not resolving to any IP address. I'd be more than happy to send any information to you, but remember, you are on the web, and there's a wealth of information like our email that we just had last. There's a lot of sites that you can go to where you can just hit the print button and print out whatever it is that you need, including the Webmuseum. You're welcome to anything that you want for your project, from my site at least. Make sure you read the copyright information on any of the other sites, and if they do not allow you to do that, then please don't do that. But if you're listening to this, you'll have to send me another email, because I return this to you and it keeps bouncing back to me. So contact me and we'll get you straightened out. I just want to remind you that you can send your questions to HoloTalk in two ways. The first way is using your phone. Most people seem to be preferring email instead of calling. And the reason that may be is because when most people are logged on listening to the show, many people still just have one phone line coming into the house. They can't pick up the phone and call when they're listening to the show. So maybe you want to jot the number down. We'd like to use your question on the air and have your voice on the air. So you can call our toll-free number. It's 1-800-458-3525, or you can send an email to holotalk@holoworld.com, and we'd love to get your questions on the air. We have a few news items that we'd like to share with you. Debbie, what's in the news this week?
Okay, this first one's from Palo Alto, California. Generally, discussions of domestic applications for blue output diode lasers do not include weaponry. That may change, however, in the laser printer wars on the high-technology streets of Palo Alto, California, where researchers at the Xerox Palo Alto Research Center, otherwise known as PARC, have just announced successful operation of a blue-emitting diode laser. Having invented the first high-speed laser printer at PARC some 20 years ago, this breakthrough reinforces Xerox's leadership position in the field of laser document production. Researchers at one of Xerox's biggest competitors, Hewlett-Packard, are also close to making a blue diode laser announcement. Potential uses for blue diode technology at HP go well beyond document printing, but HP is also a major player in the document market. After Xerox invented the laser printer 20 years ago, HP marketed it successfully enough to dominate the worldwide market for desktop and network printers. On October 14th at 8:30 p.m., a team of Xerox scientists at the Park Electronic Materials Laboratory demonstrated a blue-emitting diode laser under pulsed current injection conditions at room temperature. Devices tested at Xerox in the weeks following the first success have operated in the 422 to 432 nanometer wavelength range and have reached output powers between 10 and 20 milliwatts for cavity lengths up to 1 millimeter. Xerox hopes to have the blue diodes in printer products in about 5 years.
Okay, that's very interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing these blue emitting diode lasers finally come out in our CD players and DVD players. But if they're not going to be out in the laser printers for 5 years, I don't think we're going to see them in the DVD players for quite some time. What this allows us to do is the standard diodes that are in our CD players and DVD players at present are working in the infrared part of the spectrum, which means that you can get a lot more information packed into the same area when you go to a shorter wavelength. And, of course, going from infrared into the blue is closing that wavelength up quite a bit, and hence you can pack more data into a given area. We have a second story. Deb, you want to give us the second story?
When construction is completed in January 2000, 6 new laboratories will house laser research at the Air Force Phillips Laboratory within a 29,600 square foot facility at Kirtland Air Force Base. An $8.4 million contract to build the facility, a groundbreaking ceremony for the new facility is scheduled for this fall, and construction is expected to begin in April. 2 of the laboratories will be dedicated to chemical work, such as the chemical oxygen iodine laser that was developed by Phillips. That laser is being used for the Airborne Laser Program, developing a laser-carrying aircraft for destroying theater ballistic missiles. The other 4 laser laboratories will be used primarily for solid-state or electrical laser research. The 2-story structure will house research and development of chemical, electrical, and hybrid lasers for use in air, ground, and space-based systems.
I'd love to know what the power of those lasers are. Can you imagine trying to do a hologram with a laser like that? You'd burn through the whole lab.
Wow.
Right through the lab. Okay. We have some new products we'd like to announce on our new product sheet. Do you have it there in front of you, Deb?
I have it.
Tell us about the new laser power meter.
Okay, laser power meter. The LaserCheck handheld power meter is designed to provide laser measurements in a small, self-contained package. The microprocessor-controlled device includes wavelength correction, auto-ranging, sample, and hold functions. The device has a measurement range from 500 microwatt to 1 watt with plus or minus 5% accuracy from 400 to 1,064 nanometers. Coherent Auburn Group, Auburn, California.
Okay, a laser power meter. 500 microwatt, I guess we could take the power of our helium neon lasers with that just to see what your power output is. What's the holographic profiler that I see here?
Okay, the HoloMapper provides 3D calibrated measurement data of objects within its 7 by 7 inch field of view. The profiler has a 24-inch clear working height. Uncertainty in measurements is 0.020 mil in the z-axis and 6.8 mil in the x and y-axis. A part can be inserted in the machine, measured, and the data displayed on screen in 3 minutes. ERIM, or is that ERIM, International, Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Okay. It's tough reading when you have that person in your headphones, isn't it?
Sure is. Distracting.
We just found out we think this person's on a Citizens Band radio because they were talking about being on a specific channel. So we're picking up a CB radio broadcast of someone in our headphones, and it's tough. Calendar of events. How about if I take this?
You can take this.
Okay, Lasers 97, December 15th to 19th in New Orleans, Louisiana. Society for Optical and Quantum Electronics. The telephone number for more information on this event is 703-642-5835, or you can fax at area code 703-642-5838. Photonics West, 1998, January 24th to 30th in San Jose, California, sponsored by SPIE. The telephone number for more information, area code 360-676-5655, 647-3290. The fax number is also area code 360, obviously. They wouldn't have the fax in another area code, I don't think. 647-1445, and we do have an email, which is PW98. That's PW98 for Photonics West 98 at spie.org. PW98 at spie.org. Classes that are listed: Laser Safety, Hazards, Inspection, and Controls, January 19th to 23rd, February 9th to the 13th, 1998 in Orlando, Florida. Great time to go down to Florida for a convention. Telephone number for more information, area code 407-380-1553, and the fax number, area code 407-380-5588. Just a reminder, you can have your question on HoloTalk. The toll-free number is 1-800-458-3525. It's a free call. It will not show up on your telephone bill. The line's open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we'd love to get your voice on HoloTalk, or you can send an email to holotalk@holoworld.com. Do we have another email question, Deb?
Yeah, we have two more, Frank. This one's not really a question, though.
Okay.
Okay. I just got your show. It's great. It ran almost 30 minutes. I have a 14.4 connection. I'm getting the music. It's choppy, but it works. Thanks for giving us your show and answering our questions as fast as you do. I look forward to your future shows. Thanks.
That's a very nice email. I know what this is in regard to. For the weeks that we have the guest on, we're doing the show so that it's delivered over 14.4, but the music, because it sounds so bad over 14.4, we switch over automatically to a 28.8 broadcast. And I was curious whether someone who had a 14.4 modem, would that music show up for them, or would that just cut out and they wouldn't get anything at all? So what he's getting is choppy music. Now, there's something I can do for that, and I'll do that with the next show with Wang Chun. We have our musical guest, Janoon. What I'll do is there's a little box on there I can check, which is called Perfect Play. And what that will do is that will download most of that information to you and start playing once you have enough of that information, and it will not break and be choppy for you. So there's something we can do about that. And it's nice to hear that our 14.4 friends out there are able to get the show, because that's very important to me.
Well, sure.
That's very important, because not everyone has a 28.8, 33.6, 56K, ISDN, T1, T3 line, although some of our listeners do. And
well, all of our listeners are important, regardless of what they have. You know, you don't want to cut something out on them.
And not everyone can go out and buy a new modem. You've got sneakers to buy for the kids. You've got clothes to buy. You've got this bill. You've got food bill. You've got car payments, apartment rent. You've got house payments, mortgages. And
I can relate to all that.
So modems are not a high priority for a lot of people, and I want to make sure that we get this show to you if you're on a 14.4 modem. I'm going to try and stick with that for as long as possible, even if we have to upload 2 separate shows. What's our next email question?
Okay, this is the last one that I have for you, Frank.
All right.
Okay. Hi, Frank. I'm glad there is at least one, you, professional holographer out there who still appreciates the laser transmission hologram. My question is this: are they still available for sale? I've made tons of them, and they will always be my favorite.
That's a good question. Who sells laser transmission holograms anymore? I know Intergraph does out at Lake Forest. They have a number of, I have one from them of Dr. Jiang in his laboratory. It's a 4x5-inch laser transmission hologram of him standing in the middle of a 20-foot laboratory. Very impressive. I love laser transmission holograms. They're my favorite. There's nothing that impresses me more than a laser transmission hologram. Anyone out there make laser transmission holograms? Send me an email. I'll pass it along to this person. Maybe be interested in picking up a couple laser transmission holograms from you. We do have more email questions. I just found them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, I did tuck them away.
You may have tucked them away.
Okay.
You
want me to take another one? Or?
Yeah, take the one that's on the bottom there.
Okay. I am 8 years old and in 3rd grade. Okay, hold on a second here.
Yeah, it's written strange.
I am. Okay, I am in a science contest in my school called Exploravision.
Exploravision.
That's a neat name. We are supposed to invent something that doesn't exist today. My team chose a CD DVD with a holograph projector, and we call it Rockin' Reality. The projector shows a hologram of the band singing when the CD plays the music. My question is, do you know if a hologram projector has been invented? Would it need to have a light to work?
Holographic. The closest thing I know of to a holographic projector is a device that was made up at the Media Lab at MIT called the Alcove hologram. That's about as close as I can get to something that's displaying a projected image like that. Would it need a light to work? Yes. You're going to need some sort of a light source to make something like that because holograms are made up out of light. So holograms take the incoming light and sort of sculpt that, if you will, into the image that you see. It's a very neat idea. I don't know if you're actually trying to invent something like this or whether it's just an idea that you're trying to invent, but it's a very interesting idea, and I hope someday that we can see this idea become reality. Excuse me. I'd also like to comment on the fact that you're 8 years old and in the 3rd grade and you're thinking about things like this. That's wonderful. Continue on with that. If you've listened to this show, you heard our earlier segment when we were asking other kids what is a hologram. So obviously you're way ahead of the game when it comes to that. So it's a very interesting project. No, there isn't anything that you can play a CD where the band will sing for you holographically, but I'm sure it's going to be someone like you that's going to invent it for us. So hang in there. Good luck. Okay. How about the one above that?
Okay. We'll leave the name out. I'm 12 years old, and I'm doing my very first science project. I want to do the effect on holograms with certain kinds of vibrations. The prices are overwhelming, and I'm wondering if you could give me some tips for the project.
Okay, there's a number of different holograms that I've seen where people have used it both technically and artistically to show vibration in objects. It's a neat project to do. You can take an object and even a speaker and show the different vibrational frequencies. It's called holographic interferometry. Prices are overwhelming. Well, yeah, I guess they are. My suggestion to you would be to try and find out, if you're 12 years old, you're not in high school yet, contact your local high school and see if they have a laser in their science department that they would be willing to loan you either at the school or to sign out to do some experiments with. Maybe your parents could sign on that laser. That's going to be your biggest cost, is buying the laser. The lenses and things like that you can order. You know, that's just change, really, to do some holograms. But as far as the prices, the only thing that I could suggest to you is trying to find someone who could loan you the laser. In the news groups on Usenet, there's also a group which is called alt.lasers, alt.lasers. You may want to post something in there. There may be a number of people out there who have, a couple small helium neon lasers in the lab that they're not using, that they may be able to do the same thing that the high school could do, which would be to co-sign that over to you for the experiment. All right, Deb, we're going to head out. I know the last show we were curious how long that show was going to run, because the week before that it was 48 minutes, and we didn't want to go that long. Do you know what the final time was on the show?
I won.
You did win.
I won, just by a few seconds off. What was it, 29?
29 minutes and 57 seconds. You won by
3
seconds.
Minutes.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good guess.
You said it was going to be less than a half an hour?
I said, I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
It was around 30 minutes that I said. I don't know if I said 30 minutes exactly.
Well, the musical guest took it over, but I guess that doesn't count.
No,
how long do you think this? I bet this show's way over half hour.
Yeah, this one's probably maybe close to an hour.
Yeah. The show that we're doing in between the guests is actually turning out to be the longer show.
Well, we're trying to catch up on questions that we missed the week before.
Okay, well, don't forget to tune in next week. Our guest will be Wang Chun from Holography Development Company in Shenzhen, China. He's going to be filling us in on all the holographic activities in China, and I'm sure it's going to make a very interesting show. So join us next week for Wang Chun with Holography Development Company. Deb, it's been a pleasure again.
It's been fun.
So-
I'd just like to add something.
Sure.
The holiday season's upon us. Everybody's going to be crazy shopping. Just stay cool and be courteous. You know, things get really, really crazy out there, and it's supposed to be a happy time. So have fun with it.
Okay, be careful out there.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you for tuning in. This is Frank DeFreitas for HoloTalk and Debbie Lee saying good night and see you next week.
Good night.